Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Ann Reardon.
And I'm Dave Reardon.
And this is an episode of
Clever
or
or
Never,
Never.
Antique Edition. Starting with the first gadget.
Trimmer.
What do you think it does?
It looks like a. It looks like.
Dave hasn't seen any of these before, so.
It reminds me when I. It reminds me when I was a kid that we used to have fly spray. Do you ever have that? You'd
No.
crank this and it would crank out fly spray.
No.
I don't know why.
But holding it like that, it looks a bit like a fishing rod.
Yeah, sure, fishing
Yeah.
rod, but obviously it goes there on a bench.
Yep,
I put something in there.
correct. And it's got
And-
writing on it.
It's got writing on it that says marmalade cutter.
Correct.
Wow, I love marmalade.
Do you remember when I did the 200-year-old recipe from the cookbook? And there was so many oranges that had to be cut because everything's done in big bulk amounts. Because it'd be when the oranges are on your tree and you need to use them all and preserve them, you would make bulk amounts of marmalade. So marmalade cutter was a thing. I found the instructions that came with this gadget. I've printed it out and it's got two different recipes for marmalade. So one of the recipes said to cut these into quarters, take out the fruit bit and just put the peel through this. The other one said to cut it up and put the whole thing through this, which I think is going to make a real juicy mess.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the one that's not the juicy mess.
All right.
And see how it goes. So
Couple?
I think you probably put quite a lot in.
Oh,
Plenty of room in there. Use your thingy and then you
Masher
have
to smash.
turn and see what happens. It is certainly cutting it very finely.
That does look a lot like what you get in marmalade.
It's like shaving just a little bit off. I think you're done. Wow. Yeah, that is very finely cut. That's a lot finer than what I did when I did the 200-year-old recipe. I think I had quite chunky marmalade.
Good chunks.
That would definitely have sped up that recipe quite considerably. I like that.
Yeah, great.
Should we test it with the other method?
What was the other method?
Cut it into quarters, remove the seeds,
Oh, yeah, okay.
and then put it in whole. So far just rind, which is what you'd expect. Oh,
That's not too bad. Oh, I'm getting spat on.
did it all go through?
Yep.
Wow, okay. Not as much juice
Not-
as I thought there would be. So where's all the juice going? Like that was just this.
Maybe on my shirt.
Maybe it's soaking into these because this is really dry by comparison. And this is really wet.
Yep.
Anyway, I think it works. It does exactly what it said, and I think it's going to make making homemade marmalade a breeze.
I'm going to withhold my judgment until the marmalade is made.
The next gadget, as you can see, is something very small. And I think you're going to guess what it is right away, but let's see.
It's a... It's... No.
I thought you would guess this
It's
one
eyeglasses.
immediately. It's eyeglasses, but
Is it for working on watches?
no. Let's have a look, and let me show you this bit here. Turns, and then you can look through.
Oh, binoculars?
Yeah,
Look through this way or that way?
I think that way.
How do I look? Do I look cool?
What use do you think these were for?
For the races when I go to Ascot.
Actually, for the opera. When you go to the opera, which we don't do very often.
We did go to the opera once. We went to see Turandot.
We did. Our lovely, lovely relatives took us to see it when we'd just flown in from Australia. And I just struggled to stay awake. We had so much jet lag. It was beautiful and I was just felt so bad, but my eyes just kept closing.
You fell asleep. Our relatives fell asleep. I kept going for the team. It's good. It's good.
So these originally would have come with like a leather case that looked a bit like a purse, and it would have all been joined onto there. And when the purse clasped shut, it was just really small, and then when you twisted it to open it, just this bit would open. So it would be quite discreet, And then you focus using the little focus wheel.
That's great.
So you can move it in and out. They're like spy glasses.
Oh, it's like a steampunk spy.
Now, if you go to a concert or a performance nowadays, they have the big LED screens. So you can see big what's on the stage small. So not many people would take one of these.
I'm going to 21 Pilots in November.
Ooh.
I'm taking these. It's going to be fantastic.
I'm pretty sure they will have the big LED screens.
Tyler!
So I think not many people take glasses, but are there screens at the opera?
No, they had subtitles down the bottom because it was in Italian.
So they must have had a screen if they had subtitles.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah, so I didn't see anybody.
No, you were asleep.
Opera glasses. I was asleep. But if you're a regular opera goer, do you still use opera glasses? Have you seen anyone still using them? Or is this just gone because of the LED screens? I still think this is very clever.
It's great.
I like the way it folds really small. I love the design of it. It's just, I'm giving it a clever because I like it.
And I'm giving it a clever too.
This next gadget needed quite a lot of work. When I got it, it was really rusty, and the main part that I needed to move to adjust things wouldn't move, so I had to get out the WD-40 and leave it to soak for a while to take bits off, put the rest in an electrolysis tank to try and get all the rust off it, and then there was this other part that I thought I could just polish, but when I tried, it didn't work, so I had to get the buffer out on the drill and spend about 4 or 5 hours buffing to get rid of all of the tarnish that was
I
on
heard
it.
all this happening, but I wasn't allowed to see it. So I could just hear stuff going on in the garage.
I wouldn't let Dave in, and so let's see if you can guess what this is. This was first invented in the 1600s. So a long time ago, but this particular model would be a little bit more recent, but not recent as in modern. What do you think this is?
It could be a projector.
It is a projector. How did you guess that?
It's got projector vibes all over it.
So if it was invented in the 1600s, 200 years before photography, what do you think they projected?
They might have projected sort of shadow puppets.
Shadow puppets is a great idea.
With a little flickering flame and people making rabbits with their hands. And
it did used to have a flickering flame and a chimney. This one has been modified.
Chimney. It's my projector chimney.
Your projector chimney. This one's been modified not by me, but by the person before I got it, to have a light globe in it. And so, but you did used to have a flame in there, and you've got your little windows so that you could see what was going on. But now it's got light globe, which I'm grateful for. It still will get really hot because the light globe that's in it is one of the...
One with an element.
Yes, those ones that give off a lot of heat. And I did try swapping it for an LED one, but it just was not bright enough to give the projection that you need. And then all of this moves in and out so that you can focus.
It's actually giving off a lot of heat.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yep. Now, originally, the first things that this was used for was projecting hand-painted paintings. So that has been hand-painted onto glass, such detail. And even your brush strokes all had to be smooth and even because the light's going to project through it. So you can't have any different thicknesses.
Amazing.
They had slide carriers. This one did not come with a slide carrier, so I had to make a slide carrier. So we'll pop this in first.
So is this for when you went on a trip? Or when there was a tremendous battle against your enemies, you would paint up a
picture and come back and tell everyone all about it.
Give a presentation. This is wonderful.
As you can see, the picture is upside down. So it projects everything upside down. So you need to put your slide in upside down if you want your picture to be the right way up. And so then you've got your battle scene.
Ah, yes, you can see the brave young men riding off into the distance for their certain death.
I think they're more likely to bother to paint a picture about somewhere where they had victory.
Maybe
but
they had victory.
Who knows?
Even more tremendous.
So beyond painting, then they started to print some different things.
Oh,
so then you would get slides that were printed upside down. Got to remember to do it upside down. What do you think this is. And this was in a series of slides. I could only afford one.
I'm seeing a donkey, I'm seeing a rich traveller, and I'm seeing a man who's been beaten up by robbers and left lying on the side of the road. And along comes the rich traveller, and he didn't have any obligation, but he did. He put himself out for somebody else, for his fellow human being. What a great tale.
That's right, it's a Good Samaritan. So that's that one. Then some clever person thought, what if we could make them move?
Wow.
So take a look at this.
Wow, okay, look at that. I've got like a little spinning stained glass window. What do you call it? A kaleidoscope.
That's right. It looks like a kaleidoscope, but up on the thing, which nowadays I think kids would go, eh. But back then, imagine there was nothing.
Kids nowadays, kids these days.
Kids these days.
Kids these days don't appreciate a good kaleidoscope.
I think they would have been, they're spoiled.
That's the problem with society right now.
Now this is another one of the exact same mechanism. It spins.
Okay.
I'll put it in for you.
I've got a sailor boy.
And the little boy is blowing bubbles.
Ah.
And if I turn it, the bubbles change colour.
It's strawberry flavoured.
And blue and all different bubbles. One thing I found that really fascinated me though, I found a book that was instructions for the lanternist.
Oh, yeah.
And it had all different things, and one clever person had come up with a way using 2 glass slides and a piece of rubber in between, and then you screw it together using screws to make like what is really a mini fish tank sort of thing. But because it will hold water, you can now use that to do experiments in that will project up onto the screen. So one of them they did was with silver nitrate. So if you get silver nitrate solution and you add a piece of copper, it will grow pure silver crystals, which a lot of people may have seen. But when you project that, you're actually seeing the silhouette of the silver crystals. And because this projects upside down, it looks like it's growing. Now the reaction takes about 40 minutes, so you would want some other songs or entertainment while you were watching it happening. But
So they would do this at a live show?
At a live show. I actually found a story that an old lady remembers her mum telling her about when the lanternist came to town. She said when her mother was 14 years old, she would play the piano when the Magic Lantern show came to rural Queensland. A couple of times a year, the lanternist would come on a horse and cart, and a ripple of excitement would go around town. The hall was prepared, the pianist notified, and everybody spruced themselves up and shuffled in, and then the show began. I guess in a way, it was magic.
Wow. When magic came to town.
Magic came to town, so people would come to watch this like you would go to the cinemas.
Wow.
This was an amazing thing.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh, look at that. It's like a forest growing.
The other thing it suggested doing was filling it and then adding in drops of different coloured ink.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. If you had a musician on stage and that was going about, I mean, quite fascinating, isn't it?
I think that'd be quite nice even at a dinner nowadays, having that big, slowly happening over time.
It could be quite mesmerising on a huge screen, you imagine. Particularly, I mean, for us, we go, oh, yeah, it looks a bit like a screensaver. But 100 years ago,
they would have seen stuff small, but this is like enlarged it and put it up on a big screen for everyone to see. I think the lanternists are a bit like the YouTubers of all those years ago. They were coming up with creative ideas on how to entertain, but they couldn't record it at that stage, and they were pushing what a projector could do to make it look beautiful for a live audience, which I think is pretty cool.
did they also sell chocolates?
No. Well, they might have. There might have been chocolate for sale at the show. That would actually make sense if they did sell chocolate.
Do they sell tremendous books?
Possibly not. But here, we have Dave Reardon's tremendous books.
Come on, yeah. So this is getting hot. How old do you reckon this unit is?
I think that this one is an optimus.
Oh.
I found an advert from 1900 and I think that it looks very much like this one.
Yeah, you're right. And,
without the chimney.
so the Optimus, so if I press the button it turns into a robot.
The the Optimus. It is changing things, making them magical, but it does not turn into a truck or a robot, I'm afraid. So I think that this is clever. I think that the gadget itself is clever because it's not just a piece of glass that the light's shining through. There's 4 different lenses in there. The first ones are condensing the light and making it small and letting it go through the slide. And then the last ones are making it expand out so that you get the big image out on the wall, just like a projector today. But as well as the gadget being clever, I think what they did with the gadget, like making that mini tank to hold water and do all the experiments with hand painting these little slides and having live music that was being played as the person spoke and told the story. I think all of that is really clever. It's a whole heap of creative people coming together.
Yes, and I mean with the technology that they had at the time, quite incredible. That's the thing with these antique clever and evers, we judge them differently because, I mean, if you rock up to your school assembly now with this, maybe your kids are going to be a bit...
But I think if a teacher put the silver nitrate experiment on
that's true actually,
while they're teaching, and you could just watch that growing in the background, I still think that'd be great, because when you're bored you can just glance off at the thing and keep listening to the teacher. And
some things are just interesting now than in the future.
Or the dyes going in the background while you're having a dinner. It's kind of a while you're doing something else thing.
Sure.
I think that it would still be useful for that.
Yeah.
But definitely giving this one a clever.
Well, I'm giving this a double clever because I'm giving this gadget a clever for whatever it was 150 odd years ago, and I'm giving you a clever for making these little contraptions and so that you can show the audience, and keeping it from me for the last couple of weeks. So double clever.
Keeping it a secret. With thanks so much to my patrons for your amazing support of this channel. It really is appreciated and is very much an encouragement to us. Make it a great week by being kind to others, and we'll see you on Friday.
Bye.